Yep, boom. Look, that was awesome, wasn't it?
Let's see if we go back up here.
Of course, you are using it right out of the bottle, so you really only need one coated touch-up, so you should, with most colors.
And actually, real quick.
I don't know how long ago that was. Oh, let me reset it.
If that's where we end, that's fine, because I didn't say anything of value after that.
Still says unstable. That's weird.
Twitched.
Oh,
I think it's back.
hold on. I'm still getting an unstable reading now.
That's fine. I'm just, shading a seahorse. So you just go ahead with your bad self and figure something out while I shade a seahorse.
Oh, hold on. I think we might be actually working now. No. Is yours working, John? Oh.
Are we back?
It's showing me that we're back with no issues.
It says 0 viewers, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh.
Let's see.
I just heard my voice in the background. I think we're back.
Are we back?
Are we back, guys?
Can you guys see us?
Type a 1 in chat if we're back.
Yeah, 1 in chat if you can hear us, guys. Hear and see us, really. That's
yes,
important.
if you can hear and see.
Yeah.
Just Seahorse. Who's insulting Seahorse? Crispy. Come on, this Seahorse is super awesome. How could you possibly not love this Seahorse? I loved this Seahorse the moment I saw it. And actually, sculpted by our very own Kevin Williams here on Reaper staff, by the way. Yay!
And basically,
we're back! Yay! Oh,
everything on our end is 100% fine. It's Twitch for some reason, according to the inspector.
I still think it's Twitch getting all jealous that an art stream is
maybe.
getting so many people on it. That's,
you know what?
That's what I'm going to say.
That's what it is. Okay. Whoa, there's the flood of ones. Wow.
There we go. Yay!
Pretty
we have a
hefty
bit of delay,
too, it looks like.
I am just trying to get
You know
the
what?
parts of this Seahorse
How about
all
this?
ironed out.
Since Twitch had a problem, I have a little present for you guys.
Presents? Let's see. How am I going to do this? I really want to differentiate the Seahorse. You want to do it there? Yeah. There we go. Sometimes you just have to add a little bit. He is not an undead Seahorse madman, but you could totally paint him like one. And you could make those ribs, and stuff like that. And you could maybe paint his fins all sickly and gouge some holes in them. Would not take much, since he will be bones. It will be a lot easier than it would be in metal. Norwegian Gadget Man, we have the Reapercon triad of Clear Brights, the Phthalo Green, Phthalo Blue, and Orange, for those who missed them at Reapercon. And I am using the Phthalo Blue right now, actually, to line the various areas on this Seahorse and get them kind of cleared up so I know what's what. And this actually is a trick you can use, or something you can do if you have a model that's got too many dang layers of clothing also, guys. Like some of those mages and everything with their multi-layered costumes. And, you've got a vest and a cape. It's actually, right now, they're Madman... It's actually a Reapercon color. I'm using Orchid Purple. It looks red next to the blue. But I'm going to highlight them up. They're gills. So I wanted to make them more of a lively color. All right. Actually, I could start doing that, I suppose.
I hit our channel with a gift bomb, by the way.
Oh, was there a gift bomb? Who was it?
It was me.
Oh,
I did it.
You gifted subs? Look at you.
As recompense for the
As for the horrible crash that
Absolutely.
Twitch hath inflicted upon us?
Yes, it was Twitch's fault, but you know what? We can.
That doesn't mean we can't be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I can do this even better. So if you want to highlight a color with another color that's not very close to it, like me using this Lotus Orange to highlight this awesome purple, you can do white underneath. So let's say I wanted to suggest there were little striations on these little gills. And I'm just going to put them in with white, thinned down. Not too thin though, because you want the white to be pretty strong. And then...
Also, not to interrupt you, Ann, for the people that did miss the section when she was still painting, we recorded it all, so it will all go on YouTube. So any amount that you miss, you will be able to pick back up on YouTube in any portion.
Yeah, any bit of my,
100%
because
will be
I was
there.
lining him with this phthalo blue.
So you will not miss a single second.
Of Seahorse painting. And kibitzing.
Yeah, Twitch was angry, so now
was
we're not in the
angry at us.
300s anymore. We're in the mid 200s.
Twitch! I'm very sad at Twitch now. Please come back, people. You are awesome. All right, so little things. Now, we just take our orchid and mix it up real good. And clean out our brush, because whenever you fill your paint up with your brush up with paint, you need to take it out and make sure you only have a little bit on your brush afterwards, so you have control. I'm just going to paint that actually right over the top of those gills.
Yes, for the people showing up later,
another
hashtag free gets you into the drawing for a.
Yeah, I don't know, Fraley. I don't know what Twitch has against seahorses.
It gets you into the drawing.
I was never
for the,
real. It's actually a Da Vinci Maestro. It's my favoriteest brush in the universe, and I sing its praises regularly. So Da Vinci Maestro series. It's a size 1. It's a series 10, and the series is important because that defines the shape of the brush. So like if you order a series 11, it's going to be a lot fatter than this. But the 0 and the 1 in the series 10 are quite nice. If you are getting Reaper Klinsky sables, I always recommend the AUT5, 0/5, in the black handle, which is also a Klinsky sable, like this one. And the AUT10 also has some use.
MSP paint tries. I had to say it real quick, Ann. Because we have some new people in the chat. They're asking what the hashtag free is for.
Oh, yeah. Yes, hashtag free, get the ReaperCom paint if you didn't get it, yay. There we go. I like having it there. I can make it dance. All right, I actually need to thin my white just a little bit down. I have all sorts of rainbow colors on my palette today. Everything is bright and saturated. Oh, so I was saying earlier, and I totally got distracted by questions in the chat because you guys are so good at that. If I was a teacher, I'd get distracted by the class all the time. So if you've ever got a complicated miniature with lots of different layers of cloth, like you've got somebody with a vest and a cape and an undershirt and then a scarf and da-da-da-da, what helps sometimes is to line around them so that you can at least get clear in your head what's what. So like I want to paint this section different from that section. You know, this section is different from this section. But I wasn't sure where the cutoff was, and so I decided to just line everything. So now I can kind of keep it in my head where I'm painting this maybe with some undersea patterns and this with scales. And maybe this with scales. So we'll do some freehand on this beastie for sure. Just 'cause fun. reaperlive brush info, proper maintenance, how to distinguish. Yeah, metal sheep, that's a good idea. That is a good idea. Brush info is awesome. I've done a little bit of that on my Patreon. I actually have one of those. It's patreon.com/paintingbig. I did a brush feature a while ago, just covering some of the brushes that are really good for miniatures work if you're looking for a high-end brush. I mostly paint big stuff on my Patreon, but I'm doing more little stuff. Actually, this month we're going to do a painting small details video. I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't decided what miniatures to use in it yet. Although I'm sliding toward the Dungeons and Doggies miniatures, if you guys are familiar with them. They are adorable little adventuring dogs. And they have lots of tiny bags and stuff on them, so it would be a good thing.
Justices with the rate of 13. Thank you.
Trashorama, if you were using zenithal priming, would the clear rates be good to glaze over to make faster, more? Yes, absolutely, Trashorama. Be careful. You're going to want to, if you do that, start with, think like a watercolor painter. And like if you're doing a troll and you want to do him in shades of green and maybe you want to go down to blues and purples in his shadows, start with yellow. and then start working in more layers of green, and then finally do your blues, kind of do it that way. So, painting small on painting big, yes. And Solid on Oceans, I actually say painting a little on painting big, because it's cute. But yeah, I've got a freehand, a skin tones tutorial, dark skin tones on a 28 millimeter, and got some. So there got some freehand, did freehand on a dwarf cloak. I do some different miniatures manufacturers since it's my Patreon, so it lets me do stuff that isn't necessarily Reaper, but we try to talk about all sorts of stuff. And I have a Discord. And a lot of my patrons tend to get on the Twitch stream, for which I'm eternally grateful. All right, what set is the mini you are painting currently in? Actually, Panzerov, that is a great question. This is the mystery mini that we will hit who knows when in the future. I'm kind of assuming that we'll have an undersea set or a water-based set. But I do not know that, because Ron is very close-mouthed when he has not yet decided the final contents of something. Or if he is yet waiting on sculpts, because that can be a thing. We always try to get a lot done before a Kickstarter, but you guys kind of blew us out of the water yesterday with how enthusiastic you were in our initial day. So we were definitely going, wow, we might need more stuff.
Yeah, we're actually, I think, half a step behind now. We're trying to catch back up to,
Yeah,
treading water.
Ron was thinking you guys wouldn't go over 500,000 the first day. Got it? So, you totally made Ron sweat.
Oh, you did. You made all of us sweat. And actually, I don't know if people knew this, but now that we have 300 viewers again.
Yay! Hi, 300 viewers.
If you want to stick around after Anne's stream, we're going to give it about a 15-minute break, and then we're going to continue the Kickstarter coverage.
Yay.
So I don't know how long that stream is going to be. It's indeterminate, but I can tell you it's not going to be another 7-hour stream. But it will definitely be some non-zero amount.
I think we need the miniature of Ed on the tractor. That's going to be my go-to. So the gills are coming up. They may be looking a little dark on camera, but that's all right. Try really hard to make everything show up correctly on camera, but sometimes the camera, especially when I'm doing tiny little details. This is actually why we don't do more painting little on this setup, guys, is because it's hard to get really close in. So I'm taking my my orchid purple, and I'm just putting some more shadows at the bottom of each of these little gills. You can paint this purple over the salmon color. You can paint orchid over lotus, and it actually looks really pretty. So we've got some bright gills. Now I'm going to start messing around with the horse himself. Actually, Fatchison, I have gotten that request before. I know there are fans who have comprehensive checklists or close on our Reaper forums. So reapermini.com, and go to the painting tips forum and ask. I think there are a couple people who have done, what they can, and somebody might be able to share with you. I don't know if Reaper will do a comprehensive list. The thing is, if we did a list, it probably would be all the stuff that is in print, but it might not include out-of-print colors, and so yeah, so you might be better off looking for a fan list than you would an actual Reaper list. PDC, I don't know. I don't even know. Oh, hi, Derek. Derek Schubert is in chat, Studio DKS. Hi, Derek. Good to see you. I'm painting a seahorse. It's super awesome. All right, but now I need a photo reference. So when you're painting from nature, guys, always get a photo reference. So grab your, let's see here. I actually saved a picture of a fish. Hey, Justin, if I send you a picture on text.
Do you want to email it to me?
Email it to Justin at Reaper Mini.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off, guys, but I thought that Justin at Reaper Mini. Fish. I'm emailing you a fish photo that I'm going to try to do the pattern on this seahorse, and I don't know if I'm going to pull it off, but I'm going to try. So you can show the chat once you get Mr. Fish. I actually, it was kind of cool, guys. I was in Hawaii last winter, and I love aquariums, and that's why I love seahorses. So I took a lot of pictures, and that's turning out to be really handy for this project because I know what colors I want to make the rocks, and the live rocks on a reef have a lot of different colors on them, so we're going to play on that. Unsolicited fish pics. That's right, Firewing Mamba. I think that the seaweed here is kind of occluded. Let's see. Yeah, over here, if you see on the other side, we could do the gills on the other side too. I guess we probably should because we're supposed to paint this whole horse, and it'll give Justin time to see the fish pic. So that cool pattern, I'm going to try to do it. Yeah, and they do go under the arms. Actually, they actually slide right under here. I can see one sticking out. So we will get, once again, we're going to undercoat in white since we're using colors that are a little translucent because they're so bright. So we'll do that first. And you don't need to be using a strong, really strong white. I usually use a thinned white, so at least it'll make everything a little lighter. This is called underpainting. You can also underpaint dark if you want a color when you put colors over the top of it. It's used in Zenithal a lot. For those of you familiar with, you start with the black prime and you spray on white from overhead to mimic like sunlight. And then you use that when you paint by putting thinned colors over it. And this is, again, another place where transparent colors work for you. And it's a little harder to use opaque colors because they're going to cover up your zenith a lot faster.
Yeah, I'm ready for your pick.
The fish pic should be in your email.
Yeah, do you want me to drop it in the chat now?
Yeah. Okay, so guys, go ahead and fish pick. All right, see fish? See that cool kind of stripy pattern on his upper back that's almost like a maze? Wouldn't that be cool if we could do it up on like this part? Do you think we should try it? Because it's crazy. And I'm thinking I kind of feel like doing something crazy. So let's do that. Let's do Mr. Fish. And his fins are going to be yellow like Fish's fins. Anne's Paint Club t-shirts. We should have one of those, yes. Oh, sorry, Jess Shield. I'm using a well palette. I always use a well palette. The reason for this, and I love this particular well palette, which you can get at Cheap Joe's Art Supplies. They have porcelain palettes of various sizes, but this 28 well one is great. The wells are much smaller than they are in a standard. Oh, you guys want me to do the freehand? Okay, we'll do the freehand. Totally. Fish pick for the win. Crazy fish pattern. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's totally cool. I took pictures of a lot of fish at the aquarium and a lot of corals and stuff, so with the intent of eventually trying it. So the reason I use a well palette is that once I get my paint thinned to the proper consistency, as long as my paint puddles are deep enough, it actually stays at the consistency I want it. So when I am, Dan Goodchild, Cheap Joe's Art Supplies, if you Google Cheap Joe's Art Supplies, porcelain palettes, you will find it. But I do a lot of really thin paint because I do a lot of layering. And so once I've got this all thinned down with a bunch of water, usually at Paint Club, I might have to add water to my paint once in 4 hours. It stays at the proper layering consistency for hours. So that's why I like to use this, because if I tried to get my paint to this consistency, to really thin consistency on a wet palette, I'd kind of have to remix it every time I wanted to pick up a brushful, because the problem when you thin to a lot on a wet palette is that wet, the palette itself will actually wick that moisture down into the sponge. So if you are having problems with smooth layering, guys, try a well palette. So, because I find that a lot of people who have trouble doing smooth layering really are using a wet palette, and it's fighting them, because when you put the water in it, it slurps down into the sponge and you don't get the right consistency, and then you're like, rawr, I will never get this. It is not you. It is not you at all. Oh yeah, Forever Night. I used to have saltwater, actually, saltwater aquariums. Yeah, so watercolor consistency, like, okay, so like my layering consistency, let's actually... if I was actually layering, let's actually do a light one. What I tell people in my classes typically is about a 1-to-1 paint to water for smooth layering, and then tune it from there, because it will vary by the brush, by the paint, because every paint has different pigments, so it's going to have different opacity. You want to get a lot of the paint off the brush. You want it, I'll paint over this eventually, but you want to build up layers of smooth color. Oh, I've almost got a little bit too much water on my brush. Let's see here.
Blasphemous, put everybody some sort of nonsense link.
Doo-doo. Let's see here. So I'm highlighting that shoulder, and essentially this is it's probably a little bit more. It's probably more like a 1.5 water to paint, because once you add white, you have to thin it more. But essentially, it's it'll enable me to pick up a totally smooth layering really effortlessly in a couple of layers. So now I may even want to thicken that up a little bit if it's not getting me results fast enough. So I'd add a tiny bit of white to it to do that and retest. But yeah, I like, you can see how watery this is, right? See how thin it is when it falls off the side of the palette here? You can totally see through it. And when you're trying to get smooth layers, sometimes you want that consistency. But if I put this on a wet palette, it would instantly suck half of that moisture down into it, and I would lose the fact that I've got a perfect consistency right here. But you just essentially, you don't, now one thing I do see a big mistake when people try to do smooth blends, and they think they've got to thin their paint a lot, and so they thin it too much. And they end up putting like 10 layers onto a model and hardly seeing the difference. That's too thin, guys, too thin. Yeah, you can do layering with a wet palette, Shidahari, absolutely you can. I just think that sometimes people have problems with them if they aren't really accustomed to the wet palette. I think it makes it a little harder to get a smooth blend. I have experienced this through just working with people. Not everybody. Not everybody. And of course, if you're doing textures, you know, if you're not going for smooth blends, then the wet palette can be absolutely ideal. I use wet palette more when I'm going fast, if I want to do fast, loose blending. But even then, I'm so accustomed to my well palette that I tend to do a lot of it just up on these upper surfaces, just doing it fast. But there you go. This is a well palette. It's porcelain dechevalier, and you can get it from Cheap Joe's Art Supply. They probably should be kicking back money to me at this point. I refer so many people to them for the palettes. But it's a nice, I mean, I like it because it's got these smaller wells, so you don't have to use as much paint to get to a nice big paint puddle that's going to keep its consistency. So yeah, so there you got a little bit of a highlight on the shoulder. I just did it real quick. I probably could have gone a little thicker with it and brought it up a little faster. But yeah, so like that. You can see that. And yeah, if I kept going, I could make it even prettier. But, you know, and that is the temptation. But I'm going to be painting freehand over this, so I don't need. Yeah, well, you can use both, right? No, it's not plastic. Coovs, you never want to use the plastic well palette because the paint will stick to it, and it will stick with great tenacity. That can be a problem. In fact, you just never get them clean. So porcelain is fragile, but if you put it in the sink with some hot water in it and a spritz of 409 or simple green, then just let it sit for 5 minutes. It'll come all off with the green scrubby. So my palette is perfectly clean every time I start painting, which makes me happy in my, you know, anal perfectionistic mini painter kind of happiness. You all know, you all have been there. Don't tell me that you haven't. All right, dilution ratio, paint to water, for layering, base one here, Dan Shan, 1:1 for Master Series. It's going to change by the paint. It's going to change by a little bit by the color. The more of a light color you have, the more water you're going to want to add, but starting with a 1:1 is a good, like, you know, starting zone. Let's do the fins too. I want to do some yellow. Yeah, aluminum and plastic. I mean, okay, the upside to aluminum and plastic is, you know, they're cheap, right? And you can get them, and if you don't mind having a dirty palette, then you're good. Just go with it. The paint, once it bonds, it's not going to come up or bring particles into your mix, so you should be okay. I'm just one of those silly people who really likes a clean palette. And once I discovered I could clean porcelain, it was just like I never went with anything ever again. They pretty much last forever as long as you don't drop them on concrete floors, which I've done once. Very much sad. Yeah. Can I save paint well in a well palette? Actually, yeah. Will the thrill. What I do is I will put drops of water like around the colors I'm doing. So like there, you know, I'll put drops of water in here, just like a couple drops. And then I'll just cling wrap it. And since it's porcelain, the cling wrap, saran wrap, just sticks to the porcelain. and it'll keep it well for at least a day. I mean, usually I've had it go 2 if my paint is nice and thin. Yeah, J17 THMD. If you're putting I see people when they're starting to try layering and they want to get a smooth blend, they'll thin it way too much and it'll take them 8 to 10 layers and they'll hardly see a difference. You should see a difference with every layer. It should not take 10 layers to get you a smooth blend. Yeah, Norwegian Gadget Man, that works too. Yeah, yep. Yeah, yeah, your big drops, yeah, if they're big wells, that can happen where you just need to put so much paint in them. That's why I like these little wells. Because I usually work with mixes of paint that are around 8 drops at base, and then I add flow improver and water. And once I'm done with that, you know, that's 15, 16 drops. At minimum, it's 12 drops of fluid in one of these little wells, and that stays good for quite a while. And, you know, when you're reloading your brush, you just get in the habit of kind of seeing if your paint consistency has gotten too dry, a little bit stickier, and you just drop a drop of water in it. It's fine. Like I said, usually I can paint for 4 or 5 hours at a stretch without needing to refresh my palette, and with my paint being at the correct consistency, with just a little bit of tuning. Oh, a blorf. That's okay, we'll touch up our blorf. Just gonna outline our gills on the other side. Actually, I just use Reaper. When I use it, it's, I often, right now I'm just painting with water, guys. MSP has flow improver already in it. 2 different kinds, in fact. And so you do not really need to add extra flow improver. If you are doing what I told people, I just did a video on this for my Patreon. What I tell people is, if you are doing super fine detail, really fine lines, or little things, then you may benefit by adding a little extra flow improver. Flow improver can keep your paint mixed, from falling out of solution in the palette, and it also can help with surface tension so that it rolls off your brush easier. And these things can help bring your stress levels and anxiety down. Nobody likes to, you know, have stress about mini painting. Yeah, that's possible. Yep, yeah, Shidohari, exactly, because flow improver is going to break surface tension, so if you put it on a wet palette, part of that is that, and part of it's probably just that our paint is a more fluid base. It's not as thick as a lot of other paints. So you're necessarily then going to see some of that. Especially if you thin it, because that's going to make it even easier for any flow improvers to act. I am trying to get down to where I think I overpainted that one just a little bit. Trying to get all these little guys. It's hard to see all the little nubbies. All the little gill nubbies. No stressing about mini painting. It's supposed to be relaxing. I love this hobby because it's relaxing. You can just chill, hang out with your buddies. I like to paint with people when I can. I do a lot of solo painting too. I like to put on my music and just go. Yeah, they really are formulated for thinner effects, Shidohari. And if you work with them with that in mind, I think you may get a better experience out of them. But yeah, for sure put them full strength on the wet palette. I wouldn't thin them until you need to. It should help a little bit. But yeah, they are a more fluid paint in general. A lot of paints out there that are very, very thick, and I find them a little harder to work with, so... At least to get them to the consistency I like for the things that I do, the layering, the glazing, even washes.
Since I see people trying to post it in chat, I'm going to go ahead and post a link to the Cheap Joe's porcelain palette.
Yeah. Here you go, Cheap Joe's.
And as much as Anne loves this particular palette, maybe we'll reach out to Cheap Joe's about doing some sort of,
it would be nice if we could carry them in the store. That would be even better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they might order them from Japan. I mean, a lot of these porcelain palettes are actually calligraphy trays, but I don't know where the source may be, if so. Yes, first rule of Paint Club is talk about Paint Club. Yeah, scale 75 Vallejo at least are thicker sands. So is Citadel's just basic mix, right? Yeah, you're right, Shooter Hari. Those are, especially scale 75, quite thick, I find. I haven't worked with Vallejo recently. I used to paint with them a lot back when before I started with Reaper. They were kind of the hot thing on the scene, and a lot of the best miniature painters were using them. So I got a lot of experience with Vallejo. There's still some colors from their range that I really like and have thought about trying to duplicate for Master Series.
Thanks for the subs.
Oh, did we get a sub?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yay, subs! We love you, subs. Yes, Forever Night. I have seen the tiny palette. I think Brian Pearsall, who teaches at ReaperCon, he's got a tiny palette. The tiny version of this one. And he likes it because it takes up less room in his work area. So he can work in a smaller area when he's got limited space. I could probably do that, but not when I was painting for a long time, because the number of wells that I fill in tends to grow depending on where I am in the project. So if I'm painting for like 4 hours, suddenly like 2/3 of this palette will be full of paint, and I won't know how I got there. We're just lining around our gills. Yay, gills. Gills, gills. Lots of gills. And I'm using black indigo for this because I want to stay pretty colorful on this model. So I don't want to use a black. I'd rather use black indigo. Has a lot of blue and violet in it, and in addition to some black, and I like it a lot. So we use it for shading. Yay! All right, good. Yay, Metal Sheep, I'm so happy to hear that. Since I make the paint for Reaper, I love to hear it when people love them. Whether you're coming to us straight up or you're coming to us from another paint line, it makes me really happy when people love the paint. Obviously, it's like kind of, it's not really my life's work because, you know, I'm like pretty old and I did other things in life too, but it is definitely like the work of my last decade and a half, and I devote a lot of time and love to it. So when people enjoy the paint, it really means a lot to me. We're just painting in our little gills with this pretty, pretty, pretty purple.
In case you're coming in a little later, because we are now at 363 people, Anne.
Wow.
I know.
We're like breaking records right and left. I'm going to get spoiled.
We are. Don't forget to hit us with a follow. Subscribing is not necessary, but is very appreciated.
Yeah.
And hashtag free in the chat to win a triad of paint.
Yep. We've got our clears from ReaperCon. They're really bright, transparent colors. You can add a little bit of white to them to make them cover better, but still get a really bright, intense color. They've got a lot of pigment in them. I pretty much load the pigment to the gills on the clears.
And you do not have to be a sub or a follower to win.
Yeah, you do not have to be a sub to win. We do love it when you follow us because we do stream every week. Not only my Reaper ToolBox Live, like we're doing now, which is our kind of our art stream, but also Reaper Live in general on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Central, U.S. Central Time. That's where Ed and Ron run down all the exciting stuff that's coming up and just talk about, you know, what Reaper's doing and fun stuff for the community and stuff like that. And they do a lot of giveaways on Reaper Live also. And
we also have some new shows that are in line, so we'll be on the lookout for those.
We're going to have actual content, Collins? Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Maybe Terrain Tuesdays, maybe some other stuff on Mondays.
Oh, neat.
We're going to try to get a bunch of shows going.
That would be cool.
Also, you do not need to
TV.
you do not need to re-enter. Luckily, the chat stayed live. So Twitch dropped the stream, but not the chat.
Oh, well, obviously Twitch has its priorities, and I can't blame them entirely because our chat is awesome, but yes, for Terrain Tuesdays. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Reaper's a little limited on metallics because we try very hard to keep ours non-toxic. And that definitely does impact the type of flake that I can use. And so that does, I will definitely say that, you know, that our metallics, like, we have a couple different types now. But I do like some of the other companies' metallics out there. They're all good for different stuff. But yeah, we actually use 2 different brands of metallic flakes, and one of them is in our main core line, and then the new Bones line has a new product that we just added in. It was new technology introduced just for Bones. So those metallics are still non-toxic, but you're going to notice they are shinier.
Also, I think it's Fascison. To answer your question about subbing, no, it's a sub that's once a month, and if it's a Prime sub, you'll have to renew it once a month. But if it's a regular sub, I believe it auto-renews.
It auto-renews if it's a regular sub. I always love using my Prime sub, and if you guys don't know what a Prime sub is, essentially if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch sub that you don't even have to pay extra for every month that you can gift to some person that you really adore who Twitch streams. We love it when you give that to us because it lets us convince Ed that streaming is worthwhile. But it's a cool thing, and you should, when you go up to subscription or subscribe, you should actually see it in the drop down if you have not yet subscribed with your Twitch sub.
Also, I see some more people asking in chat. The giveaway is the Triad.
ReaperCon. If you did not go to ReaperCon, there are clear brights, which are very bright, saturated, highly pigmented colors. I actually used the blue to paint this horse's base color. I just added a bit of white to it so you can see how bright it is. It's a very highly pigmented blue. It's close to cyan, and then you've got a phthalo green, which is a emeraldy, little bit of a blue green, and then the orange is really, really bright for good fire effects. So yeah, hashtag free if you want those paints. We are giving away 10 triads, I believe, at the end of this stream. And I'm liking my gills so far. They're a little bit bigger on this side, so you can see them a little bit better. No brush slickers. Andy, I will never, ever, ever. There was somebody who actually made me a set of flavored paints once, and I was horrified. Please, non-toxic does not mean food grade, people.
Thank you for the gifted subs.
Yes, thank you for the gifted Gross Yeti says, you all get subs. Thank you. White primer, HolyHeathen. I usually use a light gray primer, but because I was going really bright with this one, I wanted to go with a white. Oh yeah, Yellowest Square, the companies, even the art companies now, are going away from the toxic pigments. Like, they're starting to use a lot of the stuff that we use in our paints, which is non-toxic pigments. We don't actually use a cadmium red or anything like that. Vallejo used to use some cadmium pigments and stuff. I don't know if they still do. But they have, those colors are clearly labeled with cadmium in the name. I know that.
I decided to give back too. Since someone wanted to gift us 5 subs, I decided to gift 5 more.
Oh.
We gotta share the love today. It's Kickstarter time.
Share the love. It's Kickstarter. Hey, what are we up to? We haven't talked about the Kickstarter in like 15 minutes.
Well, luckily there's a neat little ticker in the bottom left of the screen, but we're up to 1.2.
Oh, there we are. Oh, we're almost up to $1.25 million. That is fantastic. Pink purple paint that sparkles. You know how you could make that, Coobs? You could take clear purple. We're talking about clear brights. Hey, it's clear brights day. Clear purple, put a drop of clear magenta in it, and then put a drop of 9100 pearl white. Pearl white is a brilliant thing that is pretty much a white metallic. So if you add it to any of the clear brights, you can make a really saturated, sparkly metallic. If you're doing like a green, you might want to do a gold flake instead, or you're going to get kind of minty. But if you want a minty look, then good. But yeah, totally grab 9100 pearl white and add any of the clear brights to it, and you could get totally shiny, awesome pearlescent colors. A lot like the old Reaper silks and satins. Yay.
You send memes to reaperlive at reapermini.com.
Yes, send us memes. We love your memes. They make us giggle.
Also, Nayiro, there's no limit to winning. We pretty much just... Now, if someone has won something multiple weeks in a row, or, I don't know, if someone has won 10 times, we might address it then. But as far as we can tell now, we don't have too many repeats, because we have a lot of people in chat, so...
Yeah, I mean, we've been pulling over 100 for the ToolBox, and I know they do more than that for Reaper Live, so...
Yeah, it does happen. Repeats happen, but it's not
We're not gonna
out
police
of control at this point.
Yeah, it just means you got lucky. We're not going to penalize you for getting lucky, not unless you get so lucky that we're just aghast.
Yeah, no. If
You would have to get pretty dang lucky for that to happen.
if you find a way to rig the system, then we have to have a talk.
Mostly because Justin wants to know how.
Yeah, no, really though.
I'm just outlining gills. I lost a little bit of my lining. All right, so we've got some pretty, pretty purple gills. Now we will do our little gill patterns in white and put salmon over them. Doo-doo-doo. Let's see here. Don't feel bad, Elivern. You should be happy. And even if you already have the Pathfinder paints, you can just give them to a friend. It just spreads the paint love. I like spreading the paint love.
That is true. If you win paints,
You're welcome, Wolf.
if you win stuff, feel free to gift it to your friends. Tell them where you got it. Tell them where to come check out the channel. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it helps us grow. I love to see more people in here because then I can answer even more paint questions.
Or what we find particularly cool, and I like this. We've seen some of it. Go ahead and paint it or use it, and then just like share it on Instagram or on Twitter or on our Facebook page. And just
Yeah, there are a
show
lot of
us what you
people
did.
share their stuff on our Facebook, actually. Although we know that Facebook's a little obsolete these days, but still. But yes, by all means, let us see your cool stuff. I'm just putting little kind of stripy lines on the gills to make them look more like real gills. It's hard to see on the camera, I know, because it doesn't zoom in that well. But I'm essentially just doing little stripes in white. I want them to be pretty strong because I'm going to put this lotus orange over the top of them to add a little bit of a coral highlight to the gills. So I'm just going in, doing a little dashes next to each other. And I'm making them stronger on the outside. You can kind of see the outside, it's a little stronger along the outer edge of the gill, and I'm not doing it as much on the inner edge of the gill. Doo-doo-doo. There, we'll paint that in a little bit better. And now I'll take, there we go. You're old and don't use Instagram or Twitter. That's fine, Madman. We're good. What is my favorite Bones 5 mini unlocked this far? I love the Kid Adventurers Foley for Life. I love them. I absolutely. That's cool, Grim. But yeah, I love the Kid Adventurers so much. I think my favorite is the one with the wolf. Is it a little druid with the wolf? I don't remember. But one with the wolf cub is just freaking adorable. Christine Van Patten is a genius. I'm so glad she decided she was going to learn to sculpt, and now she is just incredible.
Actually, Blue's Clues, it is absolutely a color. We've given away lots of them on this channel.
What is he asking about?
The Drow Nipple Pink.
The legendary color. Yeah, I almost brought my bottle up here.
We have...
it was a joke color for ReaperCon. Did everybody tell the story yesterday so that our Kickstarter backers know the story?
I don't think we did.
Okay,
Actually.
so Ed thinks he's really funny, and for those of you who see him on Reaper Live, you know this. And one day he walked into my paint department, and there's a whiteboard that has a space at the top for urgent colors. And Ed walked in, he thought he was super funny, and he wrote Drow Nipple Pink in big letters right at the top. So I looked at him and I said, fine, I'm going to make it. And that year for ReaperCon, there was a color called Drow Nipple Pink that you had to, the only way to get it was to come up to me and ask me about drow nipples. So this year, because it was like 4 years after the initial run, we decided to repeat it. So once again, you could come up and ask me about drow nipples this year. And you got a bottle of Drow Nipple Pink, and while supplies lasted, you also got a ribbon that said, ask me about drow nipples, which was great, because then it just, it cycled ever greater every day of the con. I was my own advertisement. Lady Azareth, really? We still have a few bottles, and we are going to have them as giveaways on streams in the future? Because I just handed the very last bottles, way too much paint on my brush there. The very last bottles of it from the con, I handed to Collins earlier. So there are still bottles of Drow Nipple Pink. It is not too late. There will be giveaways. You may yet get lucky.
But this box is the very last of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There is. And Anne has vowed to never, ever make it ever again.
Well, or something.
She's kind of like the Forge person from the dwarf from the Avengers when they made the weapons.
It's like, no way, never again.
Yeah, they vowed to never. The guy that made Thor's hammer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a terrible geek. I don't know what any of this is.
Well, seriously, like if you made Thor's hammer, would you want 100 of those running around the world? Like
No.
some dork was going to get a hold of it. and do horrible things. So I don't blame the dwarf. He can be grouchy about it. I don't know how you do horrible things with Drownable Pink. I mean, I guess you could paint Drownable Pink on everything, but I don't think that would be horrible, really. Yay! Oh, now everybody's all about the Drownable Pink. Oh, ReaperCon is totally worth it. Like, if you love painting and hobbying in general and gaming with awesome people, ReaperCon is a small con. I think we had 1,500 people this year. And it is all about the art. Like, if you're more into the painting, although there is still gaming, so you can still have fun as a gamer. But there are painting classes and sculpting classes and messing around and chopping up bones minis classes. And there's a painting contest, and we got 1,500 entries this past year, which I think, I'm not sure, but I'm really wondering if it might be the biggest U.S. competition at this point. Like, most entries. It would not surprise me.
Also, Paladin.
No, I couldn't paint the dire cabbage. I'm sorry, it was not ready, Bowl and Tray.
Yeah. I didn't mean dwarf as in, Peter Dinklage is a dwarf. I thought literally like high fantasy dwarf. I'm only now realizing that actually Peter Dinklage was of small stature, and that is not it. I love Peter Dinklage. It's not what I mean. To clear
It's
that
all
up.
okay,
Thank you, though,
Justin.
Paladin.
It's all okay, Justin.
Yeah, it's
We
it
we love you.
happens.
Now I'm painting some of this awesome lotus orange over the white that I put down, and it essentially tints the outside edge of that. What time is it?
It is.
2:37.
Oh, Dave is early.
Yeah, he's giving me the stink eye.
Uh-oh. He wants his moment in the limelight. He could sit and paint the Seahorse if he wants. There we go.
You turn it upside down and dunk it in a bottle of paint.
I actually find that very easy, but I would be a little sad at this point because I put some work into it. Yeah, there. Ooh, now you guys can see the cool stripes on him. See? See the cool stripes on the gills? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Like, whenever you've got a detail like that and you want to make it look even cooler, think about adding just some random texture. Like in this case, gills do tend to have striations and little surfaces so they can catch more air. And so adding just little bits of detail like that can really enhance the mini. I mean, it would have been good if I just highlighted the gills, but it's even better if you put a little bit extra into there. People are moving back and forth. I see a big dragon coming up to hang out. I'm not going to say who. There's gonna be some cool minis hanging out, I think.
Yes, Kuv, we're gonna be going offline for about 10 minutes probably, just to switch everything up and make sure all of our tests are running.
Yeah,
and,
what do we get? We got another 10 minutes on the stream.
20 minutes on
20
the
minutes
stream,
on the
yes.
stream. All right. Okay.
I have to adjust some
So
stuff
I'm
under
going
the
to go
hood
and
for
do
the
my
stream,
little
so.
stripies. Although on very small gills, it's more like dots on the outer edge. But yeah, so that's the effect I'm going for. Is I'm just trying to add a little bit extra detail to just make it a little bit more interesting and cool. It adds cool factor, and it isn't that hard. Like putting a bunch of little stripes down, especially when they're short. When it's a short little brush stroke, it's harder to draw a long line, right, to have it be straight. But little ones are very easy. So it's just little things like that can spice up areas of your figure that might be kind of plain. Oh, need to reload my brush.
Actually, Kuv, if you want to, you can check it out on YouTube, because we may be missing a chunk in the middle because of the Twitch issue. But
Yeah.
the entire thing, because we kept recording, should be available on YouTube shortly.
Yeah.
Sometime today. I'm
And
not
we're
going to say
going to
when.
keep, and there's the first side that I did over there, so it's a little harder to see the gills because the gills are a little smaller on that side, and they're much bigger on this side, so it's a lot easier to see the color transitions and what I'm doing. And the fins are going to be yellow, and the tail fin's going to be yellow also. But I'll do that next time on camera, so that'll be next week, just to show you guys how I do yellow, because yellow is one of those difficult colors to paint. And I would love to do that for you guys. And we are still going to do stripy pattern, like the fish in the frame. That's why that fish is there, because that pattern is what I would like to do on kind of the upper surfaces up here. We'll have to adapt it, because obviously it's not just a flat fish. But I would like to do kind of those maze patterns, like all up on this area. I think that would be super fun, kind of like brain coral almost, right? So I think that'd be really awesome. So we're going to try to do that on this guy. And then on these lower areas, I think I'm going to do scales, actual paint fish scales on there. That's what I'm thinking. Because, you know, when you can freehand the heck out of something, why wouldn't you? And I really love this model, so I want him to be really cool. So the cooler I can paint him, the more you guys will order him, right? Because he'll... somebody was asking earlier, I really don't know if he's part of a, like an undersea expansion, or if he is his own thing. I haven't actually had Ron tell me that. So he could be either. It was one of those figures we were choosing what I was going to paint for this, and I really loved him. So, and he's a little bit of a bigger figure, so it's easier to show things on the camera when he's a little bigger. There we go. So we've got our little lines on our top gill.
We're about to cross into 400 people
Oh,
watching,
Lady
by the way.
Ezrith, it's not that hard. Anybody can do this. Trust me. Dire Sea Cabbage. Oh, that would be good.
Did you hear me, Miss Ann? We're about to cross into 400 people watching.
400! Quick, get your friends. Tell them to tune in so we can break 400. You guys are just in time because Dave and John are going to return again in our live Kickstarter coverage in just a few minutes. I will put away my Seahorse brushes temporarily until next week. And we will talk about what's going on with the Kickstarter. Maybe they'll even like have some new graphics. I don't know. I hope so. That would be cool. They might tease with stuff. We'll see. But yeah, so some of these colors I'm using are the new Kickstarter colors, just for those of you who tuned in late. The Lotus Orange and the Orchid Purple. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Fish can go away. And then there's the green that finishes the bud green that finishes out the triad, the color triad, the flower colors triad. I haven't decided. I probably will use the green on some of the seaweed down here. I'm trying to use as many of the colors as I can. I'm also using black indigo for when I'm outlining these gills, which is another Kickstarter color. And I'm thinking about rich indigo at some point, but I haven't decided where I'm going to put it yet. So yeah, so we're doing all sorts of Kickstarter colors on our friend the Seahorse here, and we do Reaper Toolbox Live is what you are watching. We actually do this every week around Wednesday at around 1:30 p.m. Central USA time. Yay! I'm gonna just highlight a little bit extra. Oh, it would be cool if there was Atlantean stuff. Like, that would be really neat. I haven't even seen everything. Like, I've seen a very small amount of anything. So yeah, I get excited. Just like John was saying yesterday, how he hasn't seen it, so he gets just as excited as you guys. So do I. Because I'm usually in the paint department, so I don't see, since I'm not like full-time staff painter anymore, I don't see everything that's coming up like I used to. So it's always a cool surprise to see a level go up on the Kickstarter that I haven't, like, I had no idea those Kid Adventurers like existed, and now they're my favorite models ever. So there we go. Yay. Oh, and for those who didn't know, I don't know if they mentioned it, I'm going to steal Swampy Dragon really quick. Come here, Swampy Dragon. It's not his real name, but I never like remember these names. But I did paint this guy. So for those of you who were watching like various streams, I am the person who painted Swampy Dragon. So there's my cred. Swampy Dragon says, she isn't a bad painter.
Yeah, I actually got some emails saying that looked really good on camera yesterday.
Oh, great. Yeah, he seems to take to camera really well, which is impressive considering how dark he is.
I agree.
All right, I think we've got some pretty good gill highlights going on.
Also, I realized that Rhonda was not a
yeah.
sub, so I had to change that.
Oh, yeah. Yay! Yeah, Rhonda totally needs to be a sub. Did you see Derek Schubert was in earlier?
Oh, Derek
Yeah,
Schubert.
yeah.
Hey, speak up, Schubert.
DKS Studios. I don't know if he's still here. I
Studios.
said hello when I saw him fly by.
I don't know. Maybe we should do like a Reaper karaoke IRL stream with just Derek. He's just singing, just him by himself.
Just him. I don't know. We need to have challengers like Iron Chef. Except with singing.
Well, I like that idea, and let's do it.
I think that would be fun.
In fact, let's see if he's a man of many talents.
Yes.
Let's see if he can paint and sing simultaneously.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could paint and sing simultaneously. Yes, these are new, and I'm using two of them on the gills on Seahorse right now. I'm using the base coat was our Orchid Purple, and the highlight is our Lotus Orange. So yes, I am actually being applicable with my paint selection today instead of just using whatever I feel like, although I did feel like using these. I'm just actually doing a little bit of a highlight at the very tippy tip of each little gill. Maybe I'll do some tips on brush control next time.
Also, we hit 400.
Yay! You got your friends to tune in. Thank you, everybody. Hello, 400 awesome people. I'm Anne. I work for Reaper. I used to be the staff painter. Now I make MSP paint line. In fact, I created it. So every Wednesday-ish, most Wednesdays anyway, I can be found here painting something and talking about the paint and answering questions about painting in general. And I'm so happy that we busted our previous record, like many times over, actually, with 400 people.
Actually, Spoons, we didn't integrate any stretch goals into like Twitch audiences because once again we forever underestimate what we think people will be willing to watch and see. So I wouldn't be surprised if we work that in sometime in the future.
Boom, boom. I'm just highlighting little edges of gills at this point, just because I've got only a couple minutes, so I don't want to start a new section. Yay! There. Sweet. And next time we'll do yellow, guys. And we'll talk about the various quandaries and horrors of painting yellow. In fact, I'll just continue base coating the areas that are going to be yellow, which are going to be all his fins. Because you definitely want, to get yellow to cover and to look good and bright the first time, you definitely do want to undercoat it with white if you want a bright yellow. If you want to do more of a golden color, then you can start with more of an ochre and work up from there, which is something I used to do a lot. And that's kind of a trick thing because yellow ochre pigment or yellow oxide covers a lot better than most yellows. So it's a way to get a very high coverage yellow down that's just a little darker and then highlight it with a brighter yellow.
You're not kidding, Greek Nikos. Like, I have to quadruple whatever goals I set because you guys like to laugh at it.
All right, are we almost ready to do our free drawing, Justin? I see we have about 12 minutes. Or are we going to hold off until the last 5? Want to remind all of our...
let's hold off to the last 5. Remind everyone. Yeah.
Yes. All of you new people, since we have 400 people, we're doing a giveaway. We have 10 triads. If you did not go to ReaperCon this year, then you can get the ReaperCon Paint Triad, which is that beautiful clear blue and phthalo green, which is a gorgeous emerald green. Actually, you know what? Well, no, I can't rip these open. Otherwise, I would. But the blue is absolutely gorgeous, and the orange is super bright, so it's great for fire and stuff, and fire and glow effects. So hashtag free in the chat. If you want to get entered, we've got 10 of them to give away. We'll be doing that very shortly. They are really, actually, you know what? The blue here on Mr. Seahorse, this brilliant bright blue, is that that phthalo blue in that 3-pack with just a bit of white added to it. So the great thing about the clear colors is they're so highly pigmented and the pigments are so bright and pretty. You just add a little bit of white to them, and not only do they cover better, but they make these beautiful, bright highlight colors. Gotta love it. But yeah, the lines here that you can see separating stuff are the actual blue with no white in it. I'm just trying to get some, and actually the shading on the shoulder here is done with that blue. It's a very pretty blue. But yeah, that's kind of the trick of using the clear brights if you want to paint with them, because that's what I do when I go on vacation. I just bring clear brights, white and black, and then a few browns. And if you want clears to cover, just add a touch of white to them so you get a slightly lighter blue, green, red, whatever. And then put the original clear right over the top of that. That first coat will cover much better, and then just go right over that. They're good. I mean, MSP airbrushes well anyway, Winter Warrior. I've kind of heard 2-to-1 paint to water, and I think 20 PSI? I don't remember. I don't use an airbrush very often, so I'm not the airbrushing expert. You could not use them as a wash in Solid on Oceans. You'd have to add some water to them to get them to wash, but you probably would do, let me see here. 1 drop of that, +1, +2. I'm doing a quick, I would say like 1 drop paint to 2 drops water would be a pretty good wash. And I always tell people this, add some of our brush-on sealer if you're going to do a wash. Like usually my favorite wash recipe is 3 drops of brush-on sealer, 3 drops of water, and 1 drop of paint. And the reason for this is that brush-on sealer means that the paint won't break. It'll still go clear for you, but it will go down into cracks and it will stay there. It works kind of like a matte medium that way. It suspends the pigment a little bit better. Oh, cool, bug lips. Am I right about the 2 drops paint, 1 drops water, and 20 psi? It probably varies by the paint, but. Yay. But yeah, so remember to tune in tomorrow for Reaper Live with Ed and Ron at 6 p.m. Central USA Standard Time. And they will talk about, well, they'll talk about more Kickstarter because that's kind of what we do. But normally they talk about like new stuff coming up or plans that Reapers got. You know, it's kind of just your chance to sit and chat with the Reaper owners and ask questions or, you know, ask them why they don't make some awesome products that you really want and annoy them. This is always, you know, always a great opportunity. But yeah, we're pretty much, guys, on Thursday night, you have 2 of the owners of Reaper. You can just talk to them. I mean, tell them what you love about Reaper. Tell them like the products that you really appreciate that we put out, and you know, you actually have their ear. They are listening to you. They are talking to you. Tell Ron to quit spending money, Dave says. But if we did that, we wouldn't have any of these lovely sculpts, Dave. Like this awesome seahorse. I love the awesome seahorse. So yeah, we're just base coating the fins that are going to be yellow, guys, next time. So yeah, I'll be back next week, I think. Wait, what time is it? What's next week? Yes, I will be back on Wednesday, next week, doing awesome seahorse painting. And we'll do yellows. And I'll probably try out fish pattern to see if it's going to work. And then I will show you guys how I do fish pattern on the top of this guy. Because we do want to actually get started on some patterns on his hide. Figure out how we're going to make him look awesome. There we go, blocking in some stuff.
I just drew our winners, by the way.
Woo! Hey, winners, you are in the chat.
Not quite yet, but
you're going to be in the chat.
You are.
Yes, Rich Indigo is coming back, Rhonda. Isn't it exciting?
I'm going to try to read these off real fast, and maybe people won't notice that I butchered their name, because it's going to happen.
I do that for the award ceremony at ReaperCon every year. They don't mind.
So I'll just slur it all together, and hopefully people don't notice. But I am going to actually broadcast in the chat, and as a heads up, and you want to tell them real quick what happens if they win?
If they win, they have to send their ID, their email to, what is it?
Reaper Live.
Reaper Live at reapermini.com.
At reapermini.com.
That's what you need. So that way we can contact you. We know your handle. We'll get your email, and then we'll contact you so we know where to ship stuff.
All right. So here's the 10 people.
Here they are.
We have Zuljita and F4111. Added 1 there. kgxvii, halechreed, shawnald. I like that one because it's easy. Grim444.
Yay, Grim.
HolyHeathen, Jedi Gem 252, Christoph 65, and Lzoril, or maybe just Zoril. Maybe the L is, silent.
Silent. Yeah, it's hard to tell with those silent consonants. And then you never know what's leet speak. Congratulations, guys, on winning paint. You know, Reaper Live, they give away a ton of stuff, too, so you should totally tune in tomorrow night.
So there we
try
go.
to give away, like, hobby pertinent stuff on Reaper ToolBox Live.
And scroll up and you can see where, in case you didn't hear your name, you can actually see it in chat if you scroll up.
Yep. Yes, and remember, send your screen name and your email to reaperlive at reapermini.com so we can get your stuff to you.
And a valid, not email address. A valid shipping address. That's the most important part.
All right. I wasn't sure if we just give their contact and then contact them for that, or if they are supposed to put it in the original email. Now I know. You should just include it all.
Yes,
give us everything.
Everything that I need to...
Justin wants everything
yes.
that he can possibly have on you.
Absolutely.
He's secretly stalking every person that he has already given product to.
I am not doing that.
That would be too much time. He doesn't have enough time to do that. He doesn't have enough time to do what he's supposed to do, much less all of that.
All right.
All right. I think we're wrapping up then, huh? It's
Yes, we
time to
are.
hand off to Dave and John. We're going to take a 10 or 15 minute break because I need to obviously clean up all my stuff so they aren't putting their hands in pigment puddles. And there's Horsey as he stands. Oh, we went to face
I
cam.
just cut it.
You just cut Horsey.
just
Horsey
cut it.
as he stands. And we will be back next week. This has been Ann Forster with Reaper Miniatures doing Reaper Toolbox Live. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for pledging to our Kickstarter if you are Kickstarter backers. Otherwise, just have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Stick around for 15 minutes.
Stick around for 15 minutes for more
Yeah,
stuff.
we promise we'll be back.
We
Just hang
promise.
out. Just hang
Bye.
out. You can talk,
Don't
guys.
leave. Don't leave.
Yeah. Trade stories, Reaper stories. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.